What up, Wolves? Blade Master here, back with some more Total War Rome 2 online action. I'm fighting up against Indie Pride from the Milk and Cookies Total War YouTube channel. Definitely a very good player, very good YouTuber. He's got a YouTube channel that I've linked in the description for those of you who don't know who he is, and very good player as well. So I have taken Boii in this matchup, and he has taken Armenia. And we're fighting in the map of Migdol. Not a very balanced map, I would say. It used to be better a couple of matches ago. I believe maybe that's just me completely forgetting things, but I remember Migdol was definitely not like this. Anyway, this is played east to west, I believe. Again, don't count me on this. This was played a couple of weeks ago, but with this, when you're playing east to west, one player has a pretty distinct advantage in terms of the deployment zone. It's not like it's an unbalanced map in terms of, like, one person gets a clear hill advantage, but it is unbalanced in that one person gets a much closer one person deploys much closer to the forest. What would be ideal is if the forest was right in the middle of the map, so each player had equal access or equal distance to reach the forest. So it would kind of end up being like a large rush towards the forest. But see, you can see Indie Pride has a ton more distance to cover to this forest than I do. I just paused the game right at the start of the game. So you can see, like, I've got very, very little distance to cover before I can hide in the forest. Meanwhile, look at his units and where they've deployed. He's also deployed right at the front of his deployment zone too. So he has taken Armenia, I've taken Boii. This map would actually favor me because I can just chill in the forest, and Armenia depends, a lot of Armenian builds' success depends on the charge of their cataphracts and their Persian cavalry, which will be diminished in the forest here. So let's take a look at my build. I've taken 2 Celtic Slingers. I've also brought a second line of 2 Oathsworn and 5 Axe Warriors. So very cheap Axe Warriors, very good cost-effective melee units, and they can actually last for a while because of their good morale and health. And the thing is, they have axes which have high armor piercing, and if Indie Pride brought a lot of cataphracts in his Armenian build, which most Armenian builds have, these axes could actually do pretty well. I've also brought a third line of 2 Naked Warriors, just for shits and giggles purely. It's not like they do any damage in this matchup. I've also brought a Veteran Spear in the center and a couple of Spear Warriors to flank. I've brought a final line of 4 Heavy Horse. The reason I haven't kept these units on my flanks like usual builds is that I do not want these Heavy Horse to get charged. But instead, these units would actually play a pretty crucial role in if his cataphracts charge in, or if his Persian cavalry charge in, and then eventually they'd have to pull out because they can't stay in melee. I just set attack orders with these Heavy Horse so that they just catch them. And once they've caught those shock cavalry, they just start doing a ton of damage while those shock cavalry are trying to pull out. And they'd also hold them down so that my spear warriors and my veteran spears and my levy freemen can actually attack. Speaking of levy freemen, I brought a couple of them. And they're going to be kept on the flanks. I was just going to use them as purely screening units just to screen off his horse archers, but they could actually play a pretty important role. They could actually play a pretty important role in the matchup. If they can get a couple of javelin volleys onto his heavily armored cataphracts, they can just slaughter them. So let's take a look at what Indie Pride's brought. He's brought a total of 6 Cartly Axemen, I believe, from what I recall. Let's just fast forward a little bit so that I can take a look at his build a bit easier. A lot of his units are being, the line of sight is not playing into my advantage, but you can see over here, let's pause this over here. This is a good opportunity to explain his build. He's brought a total of 6 Cartly Axemen, and he's brought a total of 2 Axemen, so he's brought a total of 8 Axe units, and that's actually that's going to mean that his infantry line can actually beat mine, and that's one of the good advantages of Armenia. Those Cartly Axemen are not very good cost-effective units in their on their own, but coupled with the powerful charge of cataphracts, they can actually do pretty well against low HP units. They can probably slaughter them. And on top of that, he's brought a couple of axemen, so it's 8 melee infantry units, and that's a good counter to Boii army, because Boii more often than not, they definitely bring at least 4 or 5 sword followers. So you'd need a good sturdy unit like Cartly Axemen to hold them off and pop shield wall and hold them down while your cataphracts can get some rear charges in. He's also brought a total of 4 Persian cavalry. He's kept 2 on his right flank, and he's kept 1 on his left flank along with his Royal Cataphract General there, and I believe so. Yeah, and 1 in the center. He's also brought 1 Noble Blood Cavalry, no slingers or archers or skirmishers of any kind. He's also brought 3 Eastern Spearmen. So he'd probably use those as a charge bait. So without further ado, let's get back into the action now. So you can see I've been able to very easily take advantage of the forest. I'm just going to plop my units right up in the forest, and I'm not going to, like, there's no reason for me to move out of the forest at all. And he's not brought horse archers, which is quite kind of strange. But on the other hand, it makes sense because all it takes is 1 unit or 2 units of 210 talent Levy Freeman to completely screen off 2 or 3 horse archers who cost a total of 800 talents potentially. So yeah, I can see why he didn't bring them. In any case, like, whom would he attack? And also I brought Celtic Slingers, so they wouldn't. The horse archers, potential horse archer threat was kind of nullified by this army that I brought. He's going to move up in front with his Eastern Spearmen and his line of Kartli Axemen, and his third line of Axemen is actually going to be pretty nice to start showering some javelins in. But he's moving up too close with his Persian cavalry, giving me enough time to shower a javelin volley with my Levy Freeman there, killing off 7 Persian cavalry there. It's very strange that he didn't bring any Eastern cataphracts. He's only brought 1 Royal Cataphract unit. I don't rate Persian cavalry at all. They could probably do pretty decent against a faction like Boii, but they'd probably do better against a much less well-armored faction like Nervii or Swabi or something. But I wouldn't really bring them for any other faction besides them. Very risky unit to bring, not really a great unit, especially when you have cataphracts. But here I'm going to charge in straight with my heavy horse, just to counter his Eastern cataphracts, his Persian cavalry here and his noble blood cav. And now my axe warriors and my Levy Freemen are just going to slaughter them by showering a ton of javelins here. His Eastern spearmen have caught my heavy horse, and so 2 of them are going to be sacrificed basically. But you can see the noble blood cav over here just taking a ton of casualties because they charged in too quickly, and that gave enough time for my infantry units to start showering their javelins in. Heavy horse have only taken 8 casualties, meanwhile his noble blood cav have basically been destroyed. Persian cavalry here taking a ton of casualties, only 42 men left. But he got a good charge on my axe warriors here, which is pretty crazy. And my naked warriors, thankfully, my naked warriors haven't really gotten attacked by his cav, but they are going to get charged at clean by his Kartli Axemen. I pulled them out really too late, and they didn't get a charge in, and that's going to mean that they're going to get slaughtered here. His Persian cavalry actually got a great rear charge on my axe warriors, but my veteran spears are over here just to protect them. I'm going to get some rear charges in with my heavy horse on the other hand against his Kartli Axemen while they're facing up against my Oathsworn. Here my Oathsworn general is going to destroy his Persian cavalry, only 19 units left. And my naked warriors are actually going to come in for a rear charge with frenzy on his Kartli Axemen, so they'll probably take a ton of beating from that. Yeah, 36 kills racked up on these Kartli Axemen already, but 12 kills already on my naked warriors. Not really all that great, I mean, considering a 56 charge bonus. Again, it's that forest that's really come into play, not letting these naked warriors get a good charge. His Kartli Axemen are getting destroyed though. I got some rear charges in, and now they're fighting up against my Oathsworn, so they're not going to do very well. Oathsworn general here getting 118 kills already. They probably slaughtered his Eastern Spearmen. His Royal Cataphracts are just getting bogged down. That's the main problem here. On top of them being slow units in general, now that they're caught in the forest, they're actually going to be as slow as, like, basically, just these lightly armored spear units that I have. So it's going to give them a tough time to try and pull out of those engagements. Meanwhile, my axe warriors are just killing off his noble blood cav, the heavily armored noble blood cav. Kartli Axemen getting 86 kills here, and he was about to rear charge into my axe warrior, so I'm going to take my naked swords and just try and countercharge him, and just try and destroy as many of his Royal Cataphracts units. He's pulling away with his Persian cavalry, but he got slaughtered. Like, a lot of his cavalry just got slaughtered from the initial charge, which is, I can understand why he decided to do it. The timing was a little bit off, but it just goes to show that these Persian cavalry really aren't all that great. Might as well just bring cataphracts. And these Kartli Axemen, they've done okay. Some of them have done okay, 94 kills, 36 kills, but against the poor infantry line that I brought, they just weren't able to do too much, and that just goes to show that these units really aren't all that great. I just don't like Kartli Axemen. 140 kills on these regular Axemen though. I believe that's because these axe warriors already got attacked by those Kartli Axemen initially, and now these Axemen are coming in to mop up. So they're obviously going to lose a lot of men. My naked warriors are getting only 68 kills, not doing too much at all. But actually, when using them against a faction like Armenia, where I could have gotten charged any day of the week by cataphracts, they actually did okay. My veteran spears I set an attack. Spear warriors just are chasing after his Royal Cataphracts here. His general has died, which is a huge blow for his units. And just getting one more javelin volley. That javelin volley that I was talking about is just so deadly against cavalry units and shock cav. So just chasing after them. That's why it's so easy against shock cav now with formation, with non-formation attack units like these guys. You really need to be at the top of your micro game to use a faction like this, especially with 4 Persian cavalry. They can do pretty well, but you just need to get them in the right engagements, and you need to time everything to perfection. His Royal Cataphracts here just getting 106 kills, just it got slaughtered by another javelin volley from my veteran spears, or my spear warriors here. 32 kills, all 34 kills, almost a single experience chevron, just goes to show that all those kills were pretty high value targets. His Kartli Axemen got 88 kills, and they're just about ready to die. Axe warriors here actually doing a pretty decent job of holding them off, and my other axe warrior coming in to rear charge them. Naked Swords here getting 78 kills, not bad. Naked Warriors, I mean. And now my Celtic Slingers are going to fire into these very depleted Royal Cataphracts. Got only 17 kills, not really expecting too much from them in the first place. Here, you can see that his Kartli Axemen, because they are a formation attack unit, a lot of them are just not attacking my Oathsworn. So I guess when you're fighting up against a barbarian faction, definitely need to turn off formation attack. To be honest, I can't really find many uses of formation attack, except in a couple of situations, like when you want to brace more effectively against a cavalry charge or something like that. But when you're going sword on sword, definitely turn off formation attack, because it just leads, if you have formation attack on it, it just leads to many units just sticking to their formation and not attacking the enemy. So that's just about the end of this game, you guys. 26 units left on that Persian cavalry, but it was a costly victory to me. I basically won the game when I was able to get access to that forest. It just goes to show Migdol is not really a very balanced map. And on top of that, this build wasn't really all that great from Indie Pride. Persian cavalry, not a very strong unit. Could do well in Nemerisena for sure, because they have a deadly charge bonus. Of course, that charge bonus got nullified by the forest. Eastern Cataphracts also have a good charge bonus, but they have, they're very slow, and I can see why you can bring Persian Cavalry, because they cost a lot less, and they're actually pretty good units for their stats on paper. It's just that you have a much better option in Eastern Cataphracts, which is why I rarely bring these units. Axemen doing pretty well, 127, 165 kills each. His Kartli Axemen, one of them just got slaughtered with 15 kills only. And 3 of them just weren't, I'd say 3 of them basically didn't prove to be value for their money. 94 kills, 2049 on units that cost like 760 talents, on an infantry line that was basically comprised mostly of axe warriors and just a couple of Oathsworn. Just not good enough. But you can see the devastation that my Oathsworn did against these mid-tier units. Using elite tier swords on mid-tier units, those mid-tier units will get crumbled. They'll get so creamed. 220 kills on one, 270 on the other, double chevron on each. Hardly took many casualties, and that's mostly because my spear warriors, veteran spears, and Levy Freeman I just set attack orders on his Persian cavalry and his noble blood and his royal cataphracts throughout the game. They were just chasing them around the forest. Along with the forest making these units go super slow, that meant that I could get more javelin volleys with my spear units. So anyways, guys, that's the end of this battle. Hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more. Peace.